Good morning, good morning. It's good to see you all. Let's take a deep breath together. And exhale. Continue to breathe deeply, inhaling slowly, holding it at the top, and exhaling longer than your inhale. Relaxing the body, clearing your mind. Settle into your chair, let it support you. See if there's any tension in your body right now. Try to relax it. Send love to that area of the body. Just let yourself settle in. Let yourself feel the love in the room, the love that you are, the love that is this community, the love that is God. The love in which we live and move and have our being. And as you settle in, let go of the list of things to do, all the responsibilities you have, all the hats that you wear, all of the people for whom you are responsible, that you care for. And let yourself focus on your soul, your heart, your beingness. And ask yourself now, what is it that I need this morning? What is it that I need from this experience? What has brought me here today? And let yourself open to it. Say yes to whatever it is. Knowing that in all moments we are led to our highest and best. Know that there are no mistakes and that the very people that are in this room right now are the perfect ones to have this experience. And together we will create something magical and wonderful. Together we will discover more of our divinity. We will let go of more of the things that do not serve us, so that we make space for all the goodness waiting to overflow into our lives. All that goodness is God in expression, God in form. For God is all there is. Everything that you are is 100% substance, God. Just let yourself be. And so from this place of peace and knowingness, we now sing our centering song. As you can see, Stefan is not here today, so we've got music videos playing. But he and Mark are in the studio this morning recording a new album, so we send them love and lots of good vibes for what's happening there today. They've already been at it for about an hour, I think. I don't know where this reading came from, but this thing hit me between the eyes when I first read it, so I'm going to share it with you. Change, the word change comes from a French word and an original Latin word, which means to exchange. Change always means substitution. We never have a change, but something is put in place of what we have had. So change is not only taking something away, it is also adding something. To make room for all beauty, all newness, we must make an exchange. We must let go of what is to get our greater good. This is the secret of change. We must let go of what we have known so that we may have that which is now ready, prepared for us since the beginning of time. We have made this exchange again and again. We have all put away our blocks, crawled out of our sandbox for a greater expression of life. We have put away our books for the action and doing of life. And now we should put away the experimenting that we may be what we were created to be. We must let go of what we have so that we may have that which is now ready, prepared again for us since that beginning of time. We have made this exchange again and again. I obviously copied something twice here. Okay, so where to go? The human being, the highest known creation of God, is continually changing Godward. We must learn to move with the changes, to be at peace while we are making them. Did you hear that? To be at peace while we are making them and to anticipate the greater good unfolding for us. Change is always progress. Don't be afraid of it. If something must be changed, step out into that change and see what is already prepared for you. Be willing to change, eager to change, and happily welcome all changes. In truth, it will be an adventure to make the exchange. The people who miss life have quit living, loving, and expecting. They have come to a place where they are standing still. They think life is finished and there is nothing to carry them forward because they will not exchange the old ideas for the new. There are wonderful ways of life, ways we know not of. Quote, what no eye has seen, nor ear heard, nor the heart of man conceived, what God has prepared for those who love him. End quote. And y'all need to join the choir. I'm just saying.
We needed more head nods from Stefan last week. Good morning, everybody. Inspirational moment today is from Three Magic Words by U.S. Anderson on pages 54 and 55. Truth is the word. Remember this. Remorsefulness, which is deep guilt or sorrow about a wrong action. Remorsefulness is a sin against yourself. As a human being, you will make mistakes in arriving at the truth. Do not allow remorse to become a prompter, which I looked up the word. It's a tool designed to bypass critical conscious mind. So do not allow remorse to become a prompter. Be joyful that Aaron has disclosed truth. The tragic picture of man dragging through life, chastising himself for every mistake, making discouragement and shame his bedfellows, and even frightening himself into immobility through a hideous vision of punishment in hell, is the source and cause of every prompter of the subconscious mind. To err is human, evil is human, but evil is illusion, nothing more. It dissipates in front of good almost magically, and every error in your life is for the purpose of revealing truth to you, and not to stultify your divinity in shame and remorse and fear. There will be evil in the world until man completes his progress to a oneness with God. for there will be error until all truth is known. You will make mistakes. You cannot live and not make mistakes. But this you can do. You can suffer the consequence of each mistake only once and no more. Let us face this simple problem with the courage with which we are all naturally endowed. Let us not be afraid of making a mistake or of suffering the consequence if the mistake is made. If you have a desire, let it manifest. Don't keep telling the subconscious mind, do, don't, until weary of moving back and forth, it lays the weight of its indecision on your shoulders with a burden no one in the world could bear. Either say do or don't, one or the other, for the subconscious mind is a vast army at your command, but it needs a clear-cut, authoritative decision. What results then must be either truth or error. If it is truth, your whole life will be immediately better. If it is error, you will suffer a temporary punishment, a setback, but from the knowledge of truth thus gained, you have progressed. For this temporary setback, like the error that caused it, is simply illusion and is actually progress towards the realization of truth. Find a man who has suffered a score of defeats, and you will find a great soul. He may know more of truth than the man who has won a half-dozen victories. The man with the half-dozen victories knows a half-dozen truths, while the man with a score of defeats may know 20 truths. And our affirmation, it will repeat it 3 times. I know that every error in my life reveals a greater truth that acquaints me with more of my divinity. I know that every error in my life reveals a greater truth that acquaints me with more of my divinity. I know that every error in my life reveals a greater truth that acquaints me with more of my divinity.
I know, isn't that nice? But I need the backup vocals. Yeah, the choir at Unity of Dallas, we sang that, yes. Yeah, glorious song. Oh, my favorite line of that song is, I came into this world with God, and when I finally looked inside, I found it. Oh, just wonderful. I got goosebumps now. So yesterday, I went to a celebration of life. The husband of a dear friend of mine passed away last month, and they celebrated his life yesterday. And there's lots of laughter, great laughter, and tears. It was touching, and after it was over, I just had to sit for a while. The place was just packed. They put in extra chairs. He knew a lot of people. He was the life of a party and loved to be the center of attention. He was an actor, owned a business, just a bright, bright spirit. So it was just an honor to be there, and I saw some wonderful people that I love there. And of the many wonderful things that people said about him was that he grew up in a home where he never heard, I love you. Never heard it. And a number of people mentioned that when they spoke about him and his life. And yet, Bob was somebody who told everybody that he loved them. He told his family, of course, his grandchildren. He's got great-grandchildren now. He often called his wife during the day to say that he loved her and to let her know that again. He told female friends and acquaintances, male friends and acquaintances. He often hugged and kissed them. He told employees, business partners, vendors, anybody that he came into contact, he told them that he loved them. And people that weren't used to hearing it just lit up when he would say, I love you. I think what most people do when we have a situation like that in our family of origin, we stay there and we get stuck in what we didn't have. And we lament what we didn't have, sometimes forever. Sometimes forever. Sometimes people go to their graves lamenting what they didn't have. And I have not been able to stop thinking about Bob. And I don't know if he made a decision to tell people that he loved them and to give to people unapologetically, boldly, and joyfully something he didn't have. And it was obvious from what happened in that room yesterday that he was dearly, dearly loved. And I imagine that he got 1,000 times the number of I love yous that he could have gotten in his home. Just by sharing with people what he didn't have. What he didn't have. So I asked myself throughout the evening yesterday and again this morning, is there something I am holding back because I didn't have it growing up? What is it that I might be still lamenting? There are some things that I've let go of consciously because I heard myself lamenting yet again about something I didn't get or something that happened during my childhood, and I caught myself speaking about it again. And I've mentioned to you there are times when I've heard myself say something about my youth or my family of origin, and I hear it, and I know I've said it 10,000 times, and I go, oh, I won't say it 10,001 times. I'm done saying it. I'm done affirming it. I'm done keeping it, and I'm going to let it go. That's why I like that reading about change. Because as soon as we're done lamenting about it, then we can make space for something we can be joyful about. If we'll just let it go. But I think letting go is probably harder than we acknowledge. Because as humans, we seem to have an affinity for holding on to stuff. And I think sometimes we like to hear ourselves lament about what we didn't have and what we didn't get. Because then it is an excuse for what we haven't stepped into now. I didn't get enough affirmation. I didn't have this, so that means I can't step forward boldly into what I'm called to because I don't know if I can do it because they always told me I couldn't. I've said that myself so many times. If only they had done this, then I would be able to do this now. What are you holding on to? And it may be something that happened or something you didn't get is in the last year or two. Are you still holding on to that? How many of us hear something or experience something during our day and then we hold it the rest of the day and we carry it with us? And we make that the energy that we keep and share with anybody who will listen to us or put up with us sharing something. Sometimes I think that's most of what's on social media. I was scrolling through for a couple of minutes while I was eating breakfast this morning and came across this long post. Oh my gosh, Can we not do the 10-paragraph post? Please. Please. Brevity is an art. Can we please be more brief? Anytime you have to do this. I just move on. I move on. I don't need to hear I don't need to read 10 paragraphs worth of stuff. But it's usually a lament about something. Something in the world's not going right. Something else happened. I didn't get this. This happened. Somebody said that. Somebody's not making something happen. I'm tired of hearing this person talk. Why can't we just let it go? Let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. Because we just make room. But in the letting go of something, we end up having to let go of some part of ourselves, which we may be getting some payoff from. That's the hard part. Because there's a change of identity, and if we can't show up like this thing we've been holding on to, then how do we show up? Who am I without the stuff? Who am I without that? And what am I going to make room for that I don't have any idea about? I don't know what it's going to ask of me. I don't know what's next. But as long as you hold on to the stuff, you know what's next, because it's the same crap you've had all along. And it's the devil you know. And most of us are happier with the devil we know than the goodness we don't know. We get tied up in our identity, no matter what it looks like. And we're not always expectant, joyously expectant about what could be. Like the reading said, we got to let go so we can have something. You got to be willing to do that. How about if we get a little bit excited about what's coming up next, no matter what it is? I always affirm that I may not know what it is, but I'm excited about it because it's got to be better than what I had. That is how the universe works. That's how the divine works. You let go of something that you no longer need or want or desire, and if you can sit there and say, do I really want what I have now? Do I really want to stay in this place of not feeling loved just so I can keep telling that story? Do I really want to keep that? Really? Do I want that? Or can I be open now to a love that I probably have never felt, but will light up every cell of me? That will light up every cell of me. All of us have those moments, I think, when every single cell of our bodies and our minds and our hearts are just lit up. Why don't we want more of that in our day, in our life? Are you willing to let go? Sometimes of the big stuff. Sometimes it's little stuff that's just accumulated. Like I said, the 10,000 times that I said I'm not enough. Because my father said my 98 on a test wasn't good enough. I told that story till about 5-6 years ago. I was in high school when that happened. Decades carried that story. And I used that excuse not to move towards excellence. Actually, wasn't about moving towards excellence. I didn't try so many things because of that. Numerous opportunities. Because I held on to a message that I was not enough. I couldn't make it happen. What are you holding on to? Doesn't matter how long you've been holding it. Doesn't matter if you heard something this morning and you've been holding it for the last few hours. Doesn't matter if you heard it when you were 4 or 5 years old and it ended up in your DNA because you kept rehearsing it, telling it, hearing it, telling people about it, and now it is part of your DNA because now we know that what we say, our bodies hear. That we create neural pathways from running through a story over and over again and telling it aloud and feeling the emotion of the thing that happened when we are 4 or 5 or 55 or 65 or 67 years old plus 4 hours, 2 minutes, and 25 seconds. Are you willing to go within and ask, what is it I need to let go of? Hear the answer, and then let it go. Without questioning, without judging, and being joyously expectant about what is going to be waiting for you when you let go of it. It takes courage because you don't know what you're going to hear. You ask Spirit something, Spirit answers. Every single time I ask a question of Spirit, I get an immediate answer. And sometimes those answers blow my socks off. What I need to let go of. All right, you answered. I asked, you answered. It used to be years ago where I would say, are you sure? You talking to me? That's right. God, do you have a brother or, or a sister? Teacher? Maybe you were talking to my neighbor. I remember when I was first inspired to write my first book 12 years ago. Ooh, Jesus. Well, no, it started way before that. It actually was published like 12 years ago. But it took me 10 years to write it because I was so afraid of it. But when I first got that inspiration, that's not what I was looking for, but I asked, what's next? And I thought, you must be talking to my next door neighbor, and my antennas were crooked. And I picked somebody else's signal up because I know you're not talking to me. God doesn't make mistakes, and yet you made your first one today, God, telling me that. I won't tell anybody. You're fallible, but go back in and find the real answer. But now I've grown, so now that when I've asked a question and I get an answer, it may give me pause for a second. I go, ooh, yeah, you said that, didn't you? And now I just say, okay, this is what we're doing. All right. Get my seatbelt. Here we go. Here we go. No matter what it is. Because change is good. And if we're going to evolve, if we're going to have richer lives, deeper experiences, more bliss, more joy, more peace, we have to evolve. I was just listening to that cosmologist again, Brian Cox, who I follow on social media, and he was talking about how the universe is expanding all the time. and has been. And they can tell that it's expanding. They can do all their calculations, and the galaxies are further apart. Everything is expanding, and since we are the universe, we are also part of this quantum field. Depending on what you listen to and what you believe and what you're taking in, we are the quantum field. We are also expanding. So are you willing to do that consciously? Are you willing to choose your expansion and what direction you go? And are you willing to let Spirit take you to a place you've never been before? Are you willing to trust? Can you trust at that level that there is change for you? In exchange, like the reading said, to let go so that you can open up to something else. It's a law of the universe. You got to create a void so that something else can come rushing in. So will you ask yourselves, are you willing to ask yourselves, what must I let go of now, today? And be in the silence and hear it. So that word that you chose for this year, think about that word right now. So our word for this month, our power for this month is will, which is the executive power, the power to do and to execute. And so when we are inspired to let go, it's asking you to do something, to use your spiritual power of will to execute what you have been inspired to do. So you were given that word. There's no mistake you got that particular word. So what is it asking of you today? And it may be asking something of you, more of you today, April 19, than it did in January when you first chose it. So my word is audacity. It's asking far more of me today, this month, than it did in January. In January, it was asking me, every time you're in a meeting, they ask for somebody to pray, volunteer to pray. Now it's driving me into experiences that I'm unfamiliar with. So I took myself out to listen to live music last night, someplace I'd never been before, and sometimes and it's late. I was going, it was 8:30. I go to bed at 8:30, okay? So okay, but I'm going to go out and I'm going to do this thing, and I got all prepared. I was a little nervous. I had to go, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I've never been there. What about parking? What do I have to do? Because I'm thinking of all this stuff. And they had a dress code. Not only do I have to go, I got to get dressed up. And so I'm thinking about all that, and I go out, and I decided to go by myself because, again, this is audacious for me to go, because usually I love to go with friends. We have an experience. And I thought, okay, I'm going to go, and I'm going to sit by myself, and I don't know who else is going to be there. And I got to go walk to my car by myself. And, as a woman sometimes out at night, you kind of think about that. You think twice. And so where am I going to go? What am I, who's going to be there? Oh, my God. So the questions were just all in my head. And at some point, I just had to slow down and breathe and be open to having a great experience. And so by the time I got there, I was good and I was open. And everything went wonderfully. Everything went wonderfully. In fact, it went incredibly wonderfully. The young lady who was seating people, I had made a late reservation. She was giving me my choice of seats in the place. She said, I know you wanted a high top, one of those taller tables. She said, but would you like a table? And you could sit closer up front. She said, you might have to wait a little bit longer. I said, oh, okay, I can do that. She said, sure, I'm going to hook you up. So I was at a table by myself, a table for four, and I decided, and I was just comfortable. And she kept saying, "Are you okay?" "Yes, I'm fine." She came back and she checked on me every few minutes, and then a couple came over, and I had 3 empty seats at my table, and I said, "Oh, can we sit here?" And I had said reserved up there. I felt so important. At a reserved table. Thank you very much. So they asked if they could sit with me, and I said, sure. We ended up having a great conversation. It was fun. And then the people at the next table, they said hello to me because they saw me. Well, the other couple, I think maybe they had left by that time, but they're having a grand time, and they're asking me if we're doing okay. We're all saying hello to each other and talking about music and life, and it was their first time there. It was my first time there. We had a grand time together. One of them was kind of drunk, and one of the husbands, he was telling everybody he loved them. So I said, "I love you too. Oh, this is great." The music was great. The atmosphere was great. Even the valet parking people were great. It was just wonderful from the time I stepped in to the time I went home. Got home, and I was just all abuzz about how wonderful this thing was. To have this experience. And I wasn't by myself. I mean, I went there by myself, but I got there, and here I am with this community of people I didn't know, and we had a grand time together. I wouldn't have done that before because it was just easier to be home in my jammies, drinking hot tea, maybe reading a book, doing my usual, which I love also. Nothing for me, nothing like being with a great book, with a hot cup of tea and a blanket. It was chilly last night. That would have been wonderful too, but man, it was off the charts, this other experience I had. And I thought, wow, I'm going to do this again. This is great. I don't have to carry people with me. I can find my people anywhere I go. Anywhere I go. And we were just all there enjoying music and having a great time and talking about what that was like. So what are you being asked to do? And are you all creating stories like I was for the first couple of hours before I stepped out of the door to go? Are you creating stories about something you haven't even opened yourself up to yet? And creating all kinds of disaster in your head. Instead of being joyously expectant about what can happen and about who will be there and who will step into your life and how you will be protected and taken care of. None of the staff there had to be that sweet to me. None of them had to do that. They're working. They had hundreds of other people to take care of. And yet I felt like I was the only person in that room. I felt special. That's what the universe gave me. The universe said, I got something else for you. You can have experiences that light you up. Again, I would have been happy at home with my cup of tea and my book. But man, I was lit up in this experience. Instead of reading about an experience. Yeah, very cool. What are you willing to open yourself up to? And if you're going to create stories, create great ones. Create fun ones. Gee, I'm going to go out, and I don't know who I'm going to meet, but they're all going to be fabulous. I'm going to have everything I need for this to be a great experience. Can't wait to get there. Man, am I excited about all the great surprises that are waiting for me in that experience. I don't know what it is, but it's going to be fabulous. What if you said that instead of, oh, hell, I don't know what's waiting for me? I could have said, what's that thing there? Nothing good happens after, well, usually I think it's midnight or 2 a.m. or whatever the story. For me, nothing good happens after 10 p.m. Because I'm usually solidly in the first dream of the night at 10 p.m. Change happens. It happens whether you joyously expect it or not. And they say that change is the only constant. Everything else changes, everything changes in every moment. Even if you're kicking and screaming, it's going to change. So do you decide to kick and scream through all of it, or be joyously expectant and trust the universe, trust God, trust Spirit, trust your higher self, whatever you call it? Do you trust that goodness is waiting for you? And that when you let go of what no longer serves you, there is something wonderful waiting to overflow into your life. So much so that you can't hold it with your arms open. Again, it goes back to what you believe. What is your core belief about God and about life? What do you believe about God? Is God a punisher? Is God a judger? Is God a puppeteer pulling your strings? Or is God infinite and unconditional love, waiting to pour into you and into your life all good things? Is God the principle of love and goodness and prosperity and health and vitality that is waiting for you to decree and declare what it is you want in life, so it can bring to you in full manifestation that which you call in, waiting for you to say, this is what I want. This is what I shall have, so it can rush it in to you.
Everything's always working out for us.
Everything. Is that your core belief? We say it on Sundays.
Yes.
You talking the talk, or you walking the talk? You sitting every Sunday, everything's always working out for us. Or do you walk through your days knowing everything is always working out for me? Even this pile of stuff. Got to be a pony in here somewhere. As you scrape off the stuff, you fling it off. Got to be a pony in here somewhere. Let's take this into meditation. So bring up your word for the year. What's your word? Hold it in your heart, but hold it openly, not with your fingers clutched, your fists tight. Hold it openly, lovingly, and ask, what must I let go of now? What would you have me do to harness my spiritual power of will this day? What must I let go of this day, April 19, 2026. Three and a half months of stepping into this energy that you've been called to, this word that chose you and that you chose. What is the calling now? What must I let go of now? Let's just be with that question. If you need to write something down, there are index cards and pens in the seat backs. And as you contemplate, visualize yourself opening your arms wide with a smile on your face in joyous expectancy of what's next, whatever it is. And say in your heart of hearts, I joyously expect whatever is next. I joyously expect whatever is next. I am called to my highest and best in this moment. I'm called to my highest and best. Keep picturing yourself with your arms open wide. Peaceful, smiling, joyous. Let's take a deep breath in together. Exhale. Inhale again. Exhale. I give thanks for what's next. I give thanks for what's next. Because I know it'll be beyond my imagination. I give thanks for what's next. Yes, yes, yes. Bring it on. So it is, and so it shall be. Amen.